Back here. So Ray will you please read the objectives for Ray's speech, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. The objectives of the speech this evening are, first, to persuade listeners to adopt your viewpoint or ideas or to take some action. Next, appeal to the audience's interest. Then, next, use logic and emotion to support your position. And finally, avoid using notes. The time for the timer, 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you. Now, I will reintroduce Rick. His speech is Whiskey Zulu Delta, clear for takeoff, and it's part 2 of his speech. Please help me welcome Rick Holloway.
It's a crisp spring day, 1973. My dad and I were going flying that day. I was excited. I'm always excited to go flying. We have breakfast, we go get in the car. And driving to the airport, since it was spring, I mean, the grass is starting to grow. You see little bits of green. The leaves, the buds are starting to come out. The tulips, which are especially prevalent in Thunder Bay, are coming up in the flower gardens everywhere. As we drive to the airport, I'm a 13-year-old kid, and I'm bubbling with anticipation. At the airport, we go to the flying club. That's where my dad was a member, and my dad's a private pilot. Today, we're going to go flying in a little Cherokee 140. We get out to the front lines, walk out to the aircraft. Tail numbers, WZD, Whiskey Zulu Delta. Do our walk around. My dad, he's the pilot in command. So he climbs in the aircraft, sits in the left-hand seat. I'm the passenger. I sit in the right-hand seat. Crank up the engine and start moving out to the taxiway. Then it's time for the pilot in command to call the tower for clearance. But that's not who picked up the microphone. I picked it up. And I called the tower for clearance. Thunder Bay Tower, Whiskey Zulu Delta, taxi instructions. We get our clearance and start taxiing out to the active runway. I'm proud of myself. I got to use the radio. To set the real framework here of where the time was and the place was, it was 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Things are quieter. We used to walk down the taxiway to go for lunch to the restaurant at the terminal. I don't think anyone's doing that at the Ottawa airport. The most exciting thing that ever happened there is when the DC-9 would land at supper time. And as we're taxiing by the terminal, we come up to this part where the planes run up. We stop, we run up our engine to make sure everything's okay. Then we pick up the microphone to request clearance to take off. Thunder Bay Tower, Whiskey Zulu Delta, clear to take off. Press instructions for takeoff. As I said before, it really is amazing that that little 13-year-old kid ran the radio. But 3 weeks before, you'd find a 13-year-old boy with a stuttering problem that was so debilitating. Getting out 2 words in a row without stuttering was something just so insurmountable. It was hard to even imagine it, let alone putting a sentence together. My father knew this. And he came up to me one day and he says, Rick, how would you like to work the radio on the aircraft? It's like a kid getting candy. Sitting there bubbling and says, but then I realized it's unsafe. I was only a 13-year-old, but I knew what safe was. And I said that to my dad. I said, I can't do that. That's just unsafe. Because I stuttered too much. And my father replied, well, I suppose you're going to have to work through that one, aren't you? 13-year-old kids can be pretty resourceful. I worked for 3 weeks trying to get that down pat. I practiced every day after school. I practiced all the verbiage. I wasn't a perfect speaker after that, but I got the words down pat so I could talk on the radio. Imagine that. In a controlled airspace, a little 13-year-old kid talking on the radio. But that's what happened. When I did this speech the very first time, it came to me that a 13-year-old kid could be motivated. Why can't I? The very next day, I called my doctor and says, I need help. You all knew me. I was hugely overweight. I needed a change, and I made a decision. Change will happen, that's it. The future starts here. Has anyone else in this room ever had a time when they had to make a decision to change? Everyone. I bet you, Harold, when you were getting ready to retire, you had to change the idea of working to retirement. I saw you when they're trying to wrestle with that decision in your work as a consultant. Bill, I'm sure when you quit being a teacher, what am I going to do after that? I have interest, but what am I going to do? And you made a decision. I want change. I'm going to move on. Jerry, I bet you when you went to school and you're coming up to your final exams to be an accountant, you're young then, you're probably partying a little bit, but you had to make a decision. I got to get through that exam and put my parents' good money to work. Whiskey Zulu Delta, Planet Bay Tower, clear for takeoff. Are you ready for takeoff? How about you? Are you ready? Are you ready, Jerry? Of course you were. You've been cleared. It's amazing what you can do if you're motivated for change. I bet you everyone in here would just love some point in time to be cleared for takeoff, to make that change, to take something so profound that you want to change in your life and just make it happen. Make a decision, move forward. Everyone has that in them. Everyone can make that change. Fellow Toastmasters.